Hello, everyone. This is Mike. Just come back to record another session, and on this session, we're going back to our Quail Meadows course. We already did grass, and we took a look at grass around water as well as just grass in general. And I completed all the grass on this course. Uh, this is something that is a big trend in many golf courses, is that they're chopping down trees and putting in tall grass. So, as we look at it, we look towards the waters, and you'll see that I have grasses planted around all the waterways because that's the way it was within the course. As we take a look at it, I've got the nice blues and reds and all that around the waterways. And as we take a look over here, I believe it's over here, there's some really nice grasses that we planted as well. So these are tall grasses that are around, and like I told you, my graphics card's a little on the slower end, so it's rendering only when you zoom on it, but on a course with a regular graphics card, it's going to be visible there at all times. Okay, so that is our tall grasses. Now, we need to start talking about tee boxes, waypoint positions, and flag positions. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. On hole 2, I already did the tee boxes. There are 4 tee boxes on this course. I kind of have a philosophy about tee boxes. I do look at what the scorecard says, definitely. But even course managers never have them at the exact yardage. So you always ask yourself questions about what's the best for this course. One of the things that I always try and do is I take the back tee position and I try and crank it all the way on the back side of the back tee. That leaves an opening for people who want to play longer courses to play your course. So even if it does seem a little bit on the long side, I definitely take that and I put it on the back tee, especially when we got a hole right here where the back tee is 405 yards to the flag. This is a dog leg, so it does make it more complex, but that's where we're at. And then up here, the white tee, I got that 387. My green tee, I got that set at 339. So look at the scorecard. That's right about where they should be. Now, here's my philosophy for the front tee or most forward tee. I always take this one and put it on the front of the front tee box, regardless of what the scorecard says. Reason for that is I want to shorten out these courses for people who are shorter hitters. So when we're looking at seniors, when we're looking at some women hit very far, but some get disenfranchised. Some seniors and some women and juniors get disenfranchised with golf because the holes are just too long. So I want to make sure that the tee is at the front of the tee box. And, course managers agree with that because they take and throw those on the front most of the time as well. They move it around the tee box, obviously, just like every other tee. It's 5 yards one side, 5 yards the other, 10, sometimes even 10. So we're just kind of following what they would do on a normal course and kind of making this playable for as many people as possible. Okay, so I've got that red on the front of the front tee box here. As we come out of the hole, that puts 4 lines because there are 4 tees. And you notice that all those lines are aiming right here to this waypoint that says 2. Now this is very, 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 very important in course design. You've got to make sure that everyone can get past your first waypoint from every tee. Not everyone, but most people. And the reason for that is if you drive the ball to, say, here, it's going to aim wherever that waypoint is. So now if I can only drive to here, it's going to aim me out this direction because the waypoint is essentially an aiming device. It automatically aims you to where you need to go next. So you want to go ahead and place that waypoint where everyone can reach it. It makes it trickier when you have dog legs. Now, when you have a dog leg, it's that gets a little hairy. I'm actually going to take, if I click on edit and I click on the waypoint, I'm going to go to move waypoint, and I'm going to move it back just a little bit. Now you'll notice that red line for the next shot goes over here across these trees. Well, yeah, if I hit that short, I'm going to be across the trees. I'm going to have to go over the trees to get my next shot in towards the tee. But if I hit it right here, it's going to aim me at the flag. So I come right in at the flag. It doesn't look the best with this red line cut across. You'd be like, oh, I want to stay in the fairway. Well, yeah, you do. But most people are going to come across that waypoint, and once you cross the waypoint, let's say I hit the ball here, it's going to aim me directly at the flag. I don't want my waypoint right here, and then I drive the ball to here, and then it aims me across this water like that. Okay, we want it to automatically aim as much as possible so people don't have to touch the keyboard very often or use their different devices that they're using to aim. We want that to be as automatic as possible. And this is one way, by moving your waypoint back. And I like to keep my waypoint below 200 yards if possible. Because there's a lot of people who 200 yards is a far drive for them. Okay, so we come over here, and that's my waypoint. Now, let's come over and look at the flags, and I'm going to show you how to do all this. Now, you'll notice there are 4 flags on here. Only one flag will show. It's the flag that you choose when you want to play. And you'll notice that there's a flag in the center, and that's the one that the line's going to. That's because that's my pin position number 1. Here is the general philosophy of pin positions. Pin position number 1 is set aside for center of the green. And the reason it's set aside for center of the green is most people play without putting. And again, we want them to be able to go without aiming as much as possible. We don't want them to have to use the box as much as possible, and a center aiming is going to give them the best chance at success. Now, pin position 1 is kind of set. 3 and 4 are also set. 3 and 4 are tournament positions. So what you do is you can find difficult spots on greens. This one I kind of tucked behind a trap in a corner, and if I remember right, it's a pretty, if you hit it short, you're going to have a pretty severe right to left break directing you off the green. It's a very hard pin position on pin position 3. Pin position 4, I tuck this back and away. This one, again, you're going to have some interesting slopes to deal with. Now, pin position 2 varies based on who you are. That's the one that can vary based on your purposes. My purpose on pin position number 2 is to shorten the golf course. If I go pin position 2, it shortens this hole by about 15 yards. Again, my reason for doing that is I want everyone to be able to play my courses. I want people to be able to, juniors, ladies, seniors. I want everybody to have an opportunity. That's why I put pin position 2 forward, and it's not forward every single time, but on longer holes, it is. The longer the hole, the more I put it in the front. It just helps them play the course a little bit better. All right, so that is philosophy on pin positions. Now, let me go over to hole number 10, and I'll show you what's different about a par 3. There's hole 10 right there. I also did hole 10. I put my, let me back up here. Okay, I've got my 4 tees here for hole 10. Zoom into it. Again, on the back, and then that matches about the yardage on the scorecard. And then again, my forward tee is at the front. So I'm following that same philosophy with the tee boxes. But you'll notice this difference that there is. The waypoint is not back here. It normally puts it there. It wants to put it there, but you got to move it. And the reason you move it is because your waypoint wants to be aiming you at your last shot that you have before your green in regulation. So on a par 4, that would be your second shot. On a par 3, that would be your first shot. So what I do is I come in here, and you'll notice that my waypoint is stuck right on or as close to possible as the hole. Why? Well, that aims my players, that aims them right at the hole and gives them the potential for a hole-in-one. And I want them to have that, possibly that experience if they hit the best strike that they can. Okay? So that's what's different about a par 3. Let's go ahead and do a hole. Kind of think I'm going to come over here and let's try to do a hole 5. Normally I do the holes in order, but for the purposes of this video, I am not. All right, so you'll notice I don't have any tee markers except for the one that I originally created, and this was generated when I made the hole. This was generated in OSM, the street map. And what I do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to try and click on it. Now watch this. It's not clicking, so there's a problem. All right, easy way to fix it. This happens all the time. Hit play test, go back to edit, now it'll select. And it's just a fluky thing. So what I need to do, the first thing I need to do, following my philosophy, I come over, I go to hole 5 red tees. I want to move the tee, and I want to jam this on the back. Okay, no matter what the scorecard says, I'm going to put it on the back. Why? Because in tournaments, again, they are going to tend to try and make the course longer. Okay. You'll see I've got the tall grasses on the right. I'm looking at that and I'm saying I got to do some fixing and straightening that line out, but you'll notice that there's a really nice red, a really nice kind of tall grassy field that we have here in Illinois. Okay, so I'm going to add a tee position 2. Let's get it to about, let's see. So we're at 363. I'm going to make it 365 for number 2. I'm going to press number C over the side where it says add tee position. I'm going to go ahead and press number 3. I'm going to go up here. And then I'm going to put it right there. And that was 220. It was supposed to be 325, but we're close enough. And then I'm going to add my last tee position. Whoops. Cancel. I pressed the wrong button. Okay. So that'll happen. Sometimes you press the wrong button. It's okay. I'm going to try and select that again. Gotta get a little closer on it. You want both of the things on screen, both sides of the tee markers on screen. Click at hole 5 tees. Okay, and I want to add tee position. And according to my philosophy, I jam it up on the front. Okay. Now you'll notice something with this. As I take a look, I've got one tee marker that's floating and one tee marker that's kind of sunk. That means the ground is not flat. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to fix that so that I don't have this floating tee marker any longer. All right, so I'm going to go to Sculpt Land, Landscape Flatten. I'm going to make my circle here. Okay, I'm going to shrink it. Okay, I'm going to make sure it's at 0. Okay, I hit the shift and make sure that it's at 0. Now I hit my control and I shrink it. I want to get it down so that I got to get both T markers inside, and I want to try and get it as close as I can here to the front without going over the front. I don't. That's because I don't want. I want there to be a little fall off still at the front of the tee box. Okay, so I click on it. Now what that takes is it makes everything to an equal height. And as we see here, we got a little bit of, I made it a little too small, so you see it's still floating. It did better, but I got to make this just a little bit bigger. It's not liking. Okay, see, it went now. It was too far towards the edge. When you're towards the edge, it does a gradual progression, not a uniform progression. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do that. And we saw it kind of go. Yep, see, they're sitting level now. And I honestly, I do it. I go ahead and I lay, when I'm doing this, not for a video, I do this as a separate step. I go through and I do all 18 holes at once in this step. I don't do one hole at a time like I am, but for the purposes of, you know what, I just made a mistake there while I was talking. I'm going to undo that. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to do it as a separate step. The mistake I made was I came off the back end too far. And I was going to go ahead and ruin the backside. Okay. So as I look down, I've got nice, no floating T markers or anything. That looks good. Okay. So now I'm going to hit my escape to get back. And now I'm back on the regular menu. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find my waypoint, because waypoint's next. Let's go find my waypoint. There we are, 5. Look at the yardage here. 222, 209, 169, 156. All right. It's not too bad. It's a straight hole, so it doesn't. So I can move it back a little bit more. I'm going to do that. I'm going to click it, move my waypoint. I'm going to stick it back here. Make sure it's in line. All right, so 161, I want to make sure somewhere around there, below 200 if possible. Again, that sounds very short, but there's no penalty or there's no issue if they go past it. But if they don't go past it, then that's going to aim them incorrectly for the second shot. And, you know, most people should aim themselves, but we want as many possible. We want to remove as many barriers as we can to playing our course. And if we can have it aim automatically, that's a good barrier to reduce. All right, so we're coming in here, and we are going to get the flag here. Now you'll notice the flag isn't selecting. Whenever something's not selecting, just hit playtest and then edit, and then come back to it. Now it's selecting. It turned yellow, so that shows that it's selected. Now hole 5, pin 1. So my second pin, I'm going to add pin position. Now my second pin, according to kind of my philosophy, is I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up to the front. And you'll notice when I do that, my yardage at the top changes. So I just took and made this a 300-yard hole for my front tee. Okay, 305 yards. Just by bringing that up. Okay, now I'm going to... You can just go ahead and select all the pins, 3 and 4. I've had a couple times where it's messed up. So I kind of like to select it each time. Add pin position. All right, let's take a look at this. What's going to make this green hard? Well, we got a trap over on the right. We got a really tricky back left position. Let's take a look at what the green is doing. The green is flowing off to the back left. It looks like. So over here is going to be a kind of a hard position right in here. Then again, 3 and 4 are for tournaments. So you're trying to make them hard. All right. So I'm escaping. I'm going to go ahead, select the pin, hole 5 pin, add pin position. And like I said, I could just go click pin after pin after pin, but I'm kind of leery about doing that because I had one course that got messed up with that. All right, so let's see what this hole's doing. All right, so this is going off to the right. The back, it looks like there's a tiny backstop right there. Not much of a backstop. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I want to put 4 here. So I'm going to escape. All right, so I've done this hole now. I've got my 4 T markers. I've got my waypoint. My waypoint is below 200 yards. I've got my 4 flag positions. Position 1 is front. I'm sorry, position 1 is center. Position 2 is front. 3 and 4, I'm looking at the green saying, okay, what would be hard? And what would be difficult? And those are my tournament positions. Okay. Now, let's take a look. And is 7. No, we're not going to do 7. Let's take a look around and see some holes here. I'm looking for a par 3 that I can show you. I don't have the scorecard right in front of me to see which ones are par 3s. But let's go to the back 9. Okay. 15. 16's a par. 17. Where's 18? 18. Is 18 a par 3? Nope, 356 yards. It is not. Okay. So, off the top here, I'm not seeing a par 3 to do with you. But the difference with the par 3 is remember that you need to take and make sure that your waypoint is right on the flag of pin position number 1. And if you do that, people are going to be aimed at the center of the green. They're going to have the best opportunities at success, and they don't need to worry about aiming. So that's a key component. Okay. All right. So we covered all that. I hope that your course is going well. I'm going to go ahead and do all the rest of these holes. And then when I get done with that, then we're going to talk about clubhouses. And then we've got to start working on backgrounds. I did some background stuff here down on the bottom of your screen. But we've got to start making backgrounds so that it's not just all open territory as people hit shots up into the air and they just see all this open territory. Okay. So I hope that you all have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you all later. Thanks. Bye.